on Raising America, we are always looking out for our kids, but this interview with an 11-year-old girl was a real tough one for us. Breann Hill is a very brave young gal. She, alongside her father and mother, are now telling of her story involving sexual abuse.
Wow.
So, Chrissy, you're the one that talked to her. You talked to the family. She wanted to do this, right?
She wanted to do this. She actually wrote an essay initially about it. She works with an organization called voicetoday.org, which deals with sexual abuse victims and helping them find their voice again. And I think this is part of how she's finding her voice.
Wow.
I was shocked. She's an 11-year-old, but you can tell she's an 11-year-old at times because she's talking about her games on the computer and whatnot. But then she's also very mature. And the way she and her parents shared what happened, it will move you.
That's unbelievable.
Just
I've never seen anything at all like this before.
Okay, let's take a look.
I had just woken up. I had come to the living room, given my girls a hug, and I had just sat down, and she just comes to me and she started to tell me, she goes, "Mama, I think this is what happened." And I was kind of like, at first, kind of shocked. My heart started beating a little hard because I was hoping she wasn't telling me what she was telling me. You know, first thing I told her, I was like, okay, I said, I want you to know that I believe you, but let's go through some questions. I said, you sure it wasn't this or sure it wasn't that? And she said, no, Mama, I'm sure. I felt someone put their hands in my pants.
Russ Hill, his wife and daughters were in Michigan visiting Russ's family. Now, his daughter Breann and her sisters were sleeping on the living room floor. Their grandfather, who has health problems, slept there too, in a recliner.
So was he doing this while she was sleeping?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, while she was sleeping.
Okay. So he thought, did he realize that she had woken up?
No. He thought that she was sleeping the whole time and thought that he could get away with that.
Breann said she was molested twice, but it wasn't until the second night that she knew she hadn't dreamt it.
I'm like, okay, it might have been him. I'm not sure. This could have been a dream. Monday night, though, I knew it wasn't a dream because there's this very bright light shining in my eyes. He had got a flashlight, and he was kind of shining it on me. And I'm like, okay, it's not a dream.
The second night, you knew. And how did you start that conversation with your mom?
We're just watching TV, and I said, Mommy, I think somebody touched me inappropriately. And that's when my grandfather got up and went to the computer room.
So he was in the room when you first started this conversation?
Yes, he's always in the room during the morning, kind of keeping an eye on us, making sure we're okay.
But Breann wasn't okay, and neither was Cindy, who now had the excruciating task of waking up her husband to tell him his daughter had just been molested.
I was having a hard time processing it. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's like, I went and I found him. He was in the computer room. He was hiding because he knew that things were happening at that point. And I told him that, Breann came to us. She said that someone touched her while she was sleeping. And, my dad is sitting in the chair, and he looks up at me. He says, Russ, I'm not going to lie to you. It was me. Just that whole moment, my blood pressure went up. Obviously I became super, just angry, as any father would. My response to him, it was complete shock. I was like, it was you? You did this? And I just couldn't believe what I just heard.
Was he remorseful?
I honestly felt like it was more of, he was apologizing because he was caught, not because he was sorry. And I think that's really where the betrayal on my end kicked in. This is my dad. My entire life I looked up to him. He was a good father. And to do something like that to my child, any real relationship I had with him at that point was completely shattered. My gut was, I'm going to believe my girl. I'm going to believe my daughter. She has nothing to gain by making up a story like this. What child does? I know her, so I know that if something were to happen and she comes and tells me, I'm going to believe that something did happen.
To protect his daughter, Russ did what a lot of people won't do. After 3 agonizing days, he called police, filed a report, and had his father prosecuted. But making that call was excruciating because he says he was pressured to keep it in the family and not involve authorities.
This would become the family secret. And I was pretty much encouraged to do so. That was the general sense that we got from everyone. You know, we'll take care of this.
From who?
From my mom, even from my dad. I'll get help, and you know, I'll go to counseling. That just didn't feel right to me. My mind was set to it that this is what is supposed to happen. When someone breaks the law, there's supposed to be consequences for that. It should be no different just because it's a family member.
His father was prosecuted. He went to jail for just 2 weeks, and because of failing health, is now on house arrest.
Aw, good boy, Red.
Breann told me she found the courage to tell her parents because she had people to protect, too.
Did you fear for your sisters?
Yes. I don't even want to talk on the phone with my grandmother. If they're on the phone with him or her, and my grandfather comes into the room and he says something, and I hear his voice, I'm just going to lose it. Because I can't hear his voice, I can't see him, I don't even want to hear his name.
When we come back, we're going to hear more from that family and how they're doing today, and the most important message parents should take away from their story. Plus, Raising America is all about protecting our kids. So how do you protect your child from a sexual predator? It's a lesson for all parents.